the shot clock, runs into the big man. Jokic double team, dribbles out of that, back out to midcourt. He wants a running start. He'll pop on a deep three, straight away. Ayo Dosunmu! It's his night! 39 points! Timberwolves by a dozen.
Alan Horton with a call from Saturday night. Timberwolves able to grind out a victory, then pull away from Denver to open a 3-1 series lead. Opening round series tonight after 9:30, right around 9:30, something like that. You'll hear the Timberwolves and the Nuggets right here at FM 100.3 KFAN. Chance to close out the Nuggets and to discuss that and more. Main man Parker Fox at Parker Fox 24 via X, and the segments, including his inclusion with the Power Trip Morning Show, courtesy of the best Continental Diamond in St. Louis Park. Could you have been any more active on Saturday night with those courtside seats? I mean, sweet seats on Saturday night. I saw it on TV at least 3 times. I saw you and Ayo Dosunmu either high five or fist bump one time. Ayo hits a 3, runs by you. They're going to break. They went slow motion. I put this one on X. And there's the kid.
Let's go.
With his hat and a let's go. And I think, it's props to you and the ultimate Rube cred here for doing your part to influence the officiating in the series. But I think there was a play that, like, the lead ref, Mark Davis, you guys collided on the sideline. Did you get admonished?
I got a little warning. I didn't go as far as getting I did go as far as getting the red card that they had out to you. I don't know if you've seen those before, but if you go past the line, they'll give you an actual physical card for a warning. Yeah, they will.
So that's how I think Josh Metellus got tossed from a game last year, maybe?
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, because there was a card involved.
Yeah, and I think he tweeted that card. Josh and Byron Murphy were right next to us, so we got to chat with them as well. I chatted with them about some of the draft picks, and they were obviously fired up. I mean, those two guys are unbelievable. Great humans. They stop and say hello to everybody. They take pictures with everybody. They're phenomenal dudes. But yeah, I did run into Mark Davis, and it wasn't until after the game my buddy called me, and he's like, dude, you ran right into Mark Davis.
But he ran into you, technically.
Yeah, he ran into me.
But technically, that's his real estate?
That is his space. His space.
Were you, when the lead official in a National Basketball Association playoff game runs into you, okay, whether you're back, heels back to your seat or not, it's your fault.
Yeah.
And they're going to say it's your fault, whether it's not.
For sure.
So were you actually on the court so excited, or what was the deal?
Well, you start to black out down there, PA. You start to kind of just, you don't really see what you got going on. At least I didn't flop. Jokic probably would have flopped on a situation like that. But nonetheless, I was in his way. I did apologize to him, and then I was very, very conscious of it throughout the rest of the game.
Did he kill your vibe?
He did not kill my vibe. It definitely took a second for me. I got the warning. I definitely took a second to take it all in and say, all right, we got to lock in here. We can't just be halfway out on the court. But the funniest bit of the whole deal, somebody who wasn't even sitting courtside, didn't have the wristband on, made his way down there to courtside. Ayo gets an and one and goes over and does the triple dap high five with him. This guy is
my man with the dark hair.
Yes, that guy.
Bro, he punched Ayo in the chest out of excitement. I had to go back and watch it, saying,
was so fired up.
This is the ultimate Rube cred for my man right here.
Oh, yeah.
A little tap on Ayo's chest, and then bam, bam, bam with the giving a 5.
Next thing you know, the security was right there and pulling him out. But we absolutely love it. Target Center was on fire, PA. It was the loudest I've heard that place.
Really?
It was, oh my goodness.
You've been to playoff games there, man. That's a big statement.
Yeah, it is a big statement. But I think just the love that these fans have for the Wolves, but also the hatred towards the Denver Nuggets. You can feel it. This is a rivalry that's, it's pretty established now in the NBA. And I think Wolves fans know it. And I think Minnesota and Minneapolis, they know ball. The Wolves fans know hoops. So you can understand the flow of the game. You can understand when it's time to get loud. We obviously love the whole, if you miss 2 consecutive free throws in the fourth quarter, it's a free chicken sandwich for everybody. So it was absolutely fired up when that was happening. And then we had the Wolves in 5 chant, and then the fight ensued at the end. And there was a lot of drama with that, PA.
So obviously you were still in your seats.
Yes.
Okay. When I wasn't at the game.
Yeah.
When Jokic went full stride, 3/4 of the court to get at Jaden, I mean, you were, let's say, I don't know, 25, 30 feet from that?
Yeah, I was on the other side of the action, but yeah, not far at all.
What's that look like?
Oh, well, we saw it ensuing, and you could just see the frustration from Jokic really all game, right? Like, all game he was going up to Mark Davis, asking for fouls, asking for this, asking for that. So you could see he was frustrated. And then classic Jaden, right? Classic Jaden. He's going to lay it up, and Jokic usually goes right for the ball, but instead he went right for Jaden, and Jaden wasn't scared. He wasn't afraid. It was just like, hey, we're going to do this. We're going to get this over. Kept his cool.
That was so key.
It was awesome. I think he even cracked a little smile there too, which you love to see.
Could you get your eyes on Julius Randle? Because
I didn't see it.
When Finchy was on earlier, and I mean, I've watched multiple angles of this, at least 5 times each, because you see different things each time.
Yeah, exactly.
Like how Bruce Brown, who's a tough guy, how Bruce Brown wedged his way in there, and I think he caught Julius with a bow.
Yeah.
The way I described it to Finch was Julius was malice at the palace mad. And Director of Security, Tony Adams, I mean, there's some low-key MVP here. He pushed people to this. He went right for Julius.
Yep.
He's like, there are 4 things to do here. Discernment. I got to go get that guy because we need him. I got no Ant, got no Dante. We need him, and he's incredibly mad.
Yeah, well, Tony Adams is the man. I know him
Tony's
well.
The bomb.
He is the man. He's excellent at what he does. But how about the professionalism? Just like you said, you have to protect Julius because we don't finish out this series without a guy like Julius, Jaden, Ayo Dosunmu. So the ability to break that thing up was great. You saw the fines; they are what they are. I think it was just frustration from Denver. Like Denver's been so good; they won 12 straight to end the regular season. They've been probably the best team at the NBA at closing out games, the clutch time, the final 2 minutes of play as well. Like they've been so good, and they haven't been that in this playoff. So that there is some frustration when it comes from their stars and Jamal Murray and Jokic, and you saw it kind of boil over. And it is what it is. And now it's going to be a story coming into tonight, right? We got the late tip tonight is going to be the story about this fight. I'm excited to see the attitude from Jaden McDaniels early in this one tonight. What kind of player is he, right? Is he the kind of guy like in game 3 and game 4 where he attacked the rim? He's finding ways to find lanes, create others for shots. I think Jaden's going to be the key. Obviously, he's the key, defensively as well, but I think he's going to be the key on the offensive side of the ball tonight as well.
Help me with this.
Yeah.
And it's via @ParkerFox24. I can't exactly remember how you phrased it, but I think you've done it multiple times. Nuggets coach David Adelman.
Yeah.
He's getting under. Why is he getting under your skin?
This guy, man. this guy. I just don't understand. I don't understand where he's coming from with some of this stuff, right? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. And yes, there's a Rube in it, right? Like, I'm a Wolves Rube, so I will always back our side. But I just don't understand some of his arguments when it comes to, first of all, the comments with Jaden, right? Jaden mentions about how everybody's bad defenders, and then Adelman's like, oh, he'll have it on his podcast one day. Jaden's not a podcast guy. What are we talking about here?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, I've heard other people say that in other sporting avenues where it's like, oh, he said that. Oh, he's probably because everybody has a podcast.
Yeah, this is also true. But I just don't. For me,
you didn't like the "this is who he is" thing, did you?
I didn't like that either. Definitely didn't like that.
It was.
Yeah, I definitely didn't like that.
Yeah, that's who he is, and we know it.
Well, here's the deal,
Big
too,
deal.
is you have a player in Nikola Jokic who I will always back. I think he's the best player in the NBA. The stuff that he does is so high level. Nobody else can do it the way he does. But the amount of flopping and the amount of he'll grab rebounds on the defensive side of the ball and he won't even look to outlet the ball. He won't even look to dribble. He'll just literally find the nearest defender and run into him and try to draw a foul. And then when they don't call a foul, he'll get so upset at the ref. And
he's out of shape.
I mean, he is.
I mean,
and you can see it down the stretch. He's short on every shot, PA.
Late.
Yes.
And it happened again the other night with Jamal Murray, too.
You're exactly right.
And Jamal, I mean, there are parts of games where everybody kept, I've low-key been a Jamal Murray fan for years.
I'm with you.
He's just cool. He's smooth. He can play point. He can play two. You can count on him. There are parts of games where he looks like one of the best 3 players of every single team in the postseason.
Oh, yeah.
He's like there with Shea. He's like there with Cade Cunningham. I mean, Cade almost single-handedly Saturday willed Detroit from nearly 20 down to a victory at Orlando. Then he ran out of gas because he played almost like the entire game.
Yep.
But Murray he's running out of gas.
He is.
Everything's in front of the rim because the legs are tired. Same thing with Joker. It's just astounding. I can't believe I'm seeing it.
Yeah, and I think it is because of their lack of depth, right? Like, they don't have the depth. They want no Peyton Watson. He hasn't been seen in this series. He's an elite defender. They don't want to go to Jonas Valanciunas. They definitely don't want to go to a guy like Zeke Naji.
I'm still trying to figure out who Spencer Jones is.
Yeah, Spencer Jones. I was talking a little trash to him as well. I was telling Bruce Brown, I was like, tell Spencer to keep shooting it. Bruce looks at me. He's like, he's a 40% 3-point shooter. What do you shoot from three?
Really?
Yeah, he's like, what do you shoot from three? And I was like, you're right. You're
Wow.
right. Not part of my game.
Well, you picked the wrong guy.
Yeah, that's true.
And I'm low key a Bruce Brown guy.
Love him.
Every team needs a Bruce Brown to play 18 to 23 minutes, lock somebody down.
Yep.
But I said it to you last week. Kitty. Go ahead. Shoot from anywhere you want to shoot.
Yeah, totally.
He's a terrible shooter and always has been.
There's a lot of terrible shooters on that Denver team, and you've
How about
seen
Hardaway in that 3 of 10?
Oh my god!
Well, see, that's
Could
what
have predicted that.
I purposely have not brought it up since I first read it.
Yeah.
I mean, Adelman was out of his mind when he said Aaron Gordon is the top 5 defensive player in the NBA. That is so ridiculous. And Aaron might be their second best defensive player behind Bruce Brown.
Yeah.
But top 5 in the NBA, that was ridiculous. Maybe he's trying to pump up Aaron. You never know what the context is. But when he went down the road of how the court expands when Tim Hardaway Jr.'s in the game.
Whatever.
And it led to their historically good offense. I spent 7 minutes in astonishment saying, I can't believe what I'm reading right now, because this is a guy where if you leave him open, he'll hit 7 of 10 threes. But guess what? I mean, he's having some points, but it personifies big box score because they need them, and it's at weird times of the game.
He's playing 30 minutes.
He ain't going to pass. He ain't going to steal.
No.
Ain't going to rebound. Barely gets to the line, but he's doing a pretty good job with that this series.
He is.
And he's not going to block any shots. I just couldn't believe what I was reading.
You were offended by it.
It was ridiculous.
I don't blame you.
Junior.
Expand the court and go 0-6 from 3, and he hit the side of the backboard.
Okay,
So
he opens the court for others.
Yeah.
Cool.
Great.
Stop there.
Yeah, exactly.
It has minimal to do with an historically good offense. I just couldn't believe it.
You're exactly right.
All right, that's Pete Fox at Parker Fox 24. More on the Wolves and NBA conversation. Plus fiance is playoff bound, and we're going to chat about that a little bit. Meanwhile, we got some cash to give away.
Yeah, the fan and BigDeck.com want to give you a shot to win some bonus bucks with the National Cash Contest. Go to KFAN.com, enter the keyword family. Family is the keyword. KFAN.com is the website.
Heading to Montreal for the Saturday start of the series.
You know, it's funny. I looked at flights last night. It's ridiculous. Like, you basically can't get there nonstop. And if you want to get there, you're spending several $1,000s round trip. It was ridiculous. It was actually absurd. So no, I will not be going to the first couple games, but then they come back home. And if there's a game 5, I would definitely consider flying out there.
We're talking about the Frost of the PWHL and Parker's fiance, Taylor Heisey. Heisey is a star for that team. The Montreal and this, I mean, it's. Do you think it's cool that teams get to handpick the team they? So do I.
I love it.
Montreal handpicked the Frost for round 1. I'm sure your super competitive fiance isn't too fired up about that, is she?
She first thing she told me last night, the bear is poked. So whatever that means to her, we'll let her run with it. But yeah, I think it's cool. I think it's great for competition. I think it's great for building a league. You can't just copy what the NHL is doing, right? Like, you have to do different things. For example, there's a jailbreak thing. So if you score shorthanded, you get to bring your player out of the penalty box. So like, I love that rule. There's a golden rule. goal to get the number one pick. So once you're eliminated from the playoffs, trying to get the most points so you can get the number one pick. So I like that. So there's some fun things you have to do when you're growing a new league, and this is one of them. The top team in the league, whoever gets first place gets to pick if they want to play 3 or 4, and they picked 3, so here we go. Montreal versus Minnesota. It'll be great.
What do you think happens tonight after 9:30 on KFAN? The first sans Dante and Ant.
Yeah, I think it's...
by the way, the Nuggets are favored by 11.5 points.
Yeah, I know. That's
ridiculous.
It's a little ridiculous. I think there's a little home in that. I think there's a little, obviously, no Ant and Dante in that. It's simple to me. Defend, run, and attack the rim. Like you have to.
Wolves back.
You have to get them in transition, PA. Like you have to. You're going to need to use guys like Terrence Shannon. You might even need to see what Jalen Clark can offer you tonight. It's going to be a complete team effort because you can't rely on 43 from Io. Now, if you can get that that output from Io, if you can get a scoring figure that's in the 30s, great, fantastic. But you can't rely on it, and I think that's why it's at 11.5. I think that's absurd. But I'm not Vegas, and I don't make the rules, so it is what it is. I'm excited. It's going to be a late one. It's going to be a fun one, and I think it's going to be really physical. I would expect Rudy and Jokic to really get into it tonight because there's no way Jokic is going to go home and go away from this playoffs without a fight.
If I'm the Nuggets, and I said this to Finch earlier, is now Denver plays some zone in the first place.
They did, yeah.
Played a fair amount in Game 3.
Yeah.
But if I'm them, then I sit in that zone or I construct the matchups or the man in a certain way where, it sounds ridiculous to leave players open.
Yeah.
But like it's for whatever the reason, the 3-point streaks or the waves.
Yeah.
They generally come at teams from home teams. Like DeSumo the other night who didn't miss one. Then he got to the line and he didn't miss one there either. Mm-hmm. But like DeSumo, Julius Randle, those for sure. Jaden, but not from the corner.
Yeah.
Do you think this is dumb? I low key let them shoot threes until they start hitting them and getting a vibe going to them, and then I change.
Yep.
Because it's clear that when Randle, Gobert, and I'm just the players playing, Randle, Gobert, DeSumo, and McDaniels.
Yes.
When they get in the key, it's either an and one or it's beating these Nuggets up, and it's playing into this condition of immense fatigue. So they got to keep them out of the key, and it's kind of like what Oklahoma City did last year in the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah,
they crafted it so Randall was taking more threes at one point than twos.
Yes,
and it was brilliant.
I think you have to give Adelman credit there for going to that zone, right? Like we don't see a lot of it in the NBA. So why are you trusting it, right? There has to be multiple factors to why you trust it. Well, one, now Dante DiVincenzo's gone, so that takes away a large volume in 3-point shooting.
With Ant. That's
yes.
a lot of threes, bro.
You're exactly right. And the other thing it does is, I don't know if you saw this or not, but what they were in a 1-2-2 that morphed into a 5-man. So basically what they did is they counteracted what the Wolves want to do. The Wolves see zone. They want to get Julius Randle to that elbow, to that nail in the free throw line spot, and then they want to hit him there. The moment they hit him in that spot, they're going to transform their zone into a man. So what does that do? Well, it allows Jokic to be in the help position defensively, and then it allows a guy like Spencer Jones, who's playing in that 2 spot in the 1-2-2, to switch right on to Julius and take away his left hand. So I love that from Denver, but they're also doing it because they're so bad at blocking shots. They're 28th in the league in blocking shots, and also Adelman knows they're last in the league in steals. So it's not like they're playing defense to try to get steals and get out in transition. I agree with you, PA. If I'm Adelman, I look at that zone a little bit more here in Game 5 tonight.
With Io, what he accomplished the other night, how out of body was that versus just the continuing thematic nature of this series in the attack? I mean, I'm not saying he's going to put 43 on him again tonight, but the sustainable part of that game from Io, is it out of body, or is it something that, we're absolutely going to have to lean on it, but something that can be replicated at least in its efficiency and its potential dangerous aspect of our offense?
Well, all eyes will be on him tonight, right, Nordo? It'll be a different defensive effort from Denver, not only because of what he did, but now you don't have Ant and you don't have DiVincenzo. So you're probably going to have a better defender on Io in this Game 5 tonight. Obviously, it's a little out of body, hitting 5 of 5 from 3, going 12 of 12 from the free throw line. Like that's not a consistent number. No player in the history of the NBA has consistently been able to do that, obviously. But he's so capable of it. Like we've seen it since the day he got here. It just a home run trade from Tim Conley, getting a guy that pushes the pace the way he does, that plays with the IQ the way he does, and he's okay with coming off the bench. He doesn't have an ego about him. He just loves the game, and I think we saw that in Game 4. He was out there like he was a kid on the playground again, just absolutely having fun with it, enjoying it with his teammates. I mean, we saw the joke between him and Rudy after Rudy shot that 3. Like, this is a guy that's just playing with so much passion, and I think if you're a Wolves fan, like, you have to continue to get behind that. Like, this is a guy in Ayo Dosunmu he's probably earning himself a whole lot more money, but he's a guy that you hope is a Wolf for a very long time.
What does Christian Brown do? Like at a high level, I know he just got paid and people are ripping on him because the box scores haven't necessarily matched up with the dollar amount.
Yeah.
I mean, by the way, in the NBA, if you just stick around to a second contract, it feels like you're going to get $100 million. So let's not worry about the money perhaps, but just, when we saw him 2 years ago, I almost felt like Brown was a bigger factor against the Wolves then than he has been in this series. And when you talk about how inefficient the numbers are going for Jokic and Murray gets his as well, but after that, it feels like Brown needs to be an answer, and he hasn't been at all.
Well, the one thing I will say about him is he's a winner, right? He won a state championship in high school. He won a championship in college. He's won one in the NBA. So there is a winning pedigree that comes with Christian Brown. But you're right, Nordo. It feels like last year he was excellent. He averaged 15.5 a game. He shot almost 40% from 3, and now that number is down to 12 and 30%. And it's weird because usually you would think, hey, if you're on a contract year, you're coming up upon a contract, you're probably pressing a little bit. Things are getting tight. And now he's paid, and it looks brutal. Like it looks like he doesn't deserve to be out there on the court. He's a guy who's very good in transition. He does, things above the rim really well. But maybe it's because he was hurt a little bit this year, only played 44 games with a little bit of an injury. So I don't know. I think Christian Brown's a guy you got to look to if you're the Nuggets, and you got to say, hey, we need production from our other guard spot. We're getting production from Jamal Murray. We're getting production from, guys off the bench like Bruce Brown and a little bit of Tim Hardaway. But if you're Christian Brown, you have to step up because there's no reason you should be playing as poorly as you're playing. Like, transition is something that's been so good for his game. I haven't seen him in transition once this series. There was the one play in transition with Jaden who blocked him at the rim that got called a foul. But besides that, Christian Brown has been brutal. So he's a guy that if the Nuggets want to continue to compete in this series, he's playing 34 minutes, Nordo. 34 minutes. He goes 2 for 4, 1 for 1 from 3 last game. Like, not a bad stat line, but that's a stat line at 15 or 10 minutes, not 34 minutes.
Exactly. How important or how vital can Ant the cheerleader be at this stage? Because I'm not trying to pee in anybody's cornflakes here. We're without DiVincenzo. We're without Ant. We have an angry Serbian. They can go out tonight and handle the Wolves, right? And so at this stage, and Ant's not right around that corner. We can be optimistic about his return time, but a game 6 back in Minneapolis, not including Ant, certainly not including Dante. So how vital can he be as a cheerleader, maybe to keep the mentality and the aggression moving forward, regardless of circumstances this evening? Well,
yeah, I think it's just his PMA, his positive mental attitude. I think that's something that Anthony Edwards he just exudes. Like, it's just something that when you're around Anthony Edwards, it's a better vibe. It's a more positive, it's a more exciting vibe. And not only to mention that, Nordo, the Wolves were pretty good without Ant kind of down the stretch of their, regular season. I think the one thing it allows you to do if you're Chris Finch is to continue to get your offense set. I think it allows you to get the ball out of a primary ball handler's hands a little bit, a little less isolation, and get into some of your offensive sets. I've said it since the beginning of this series. I think this is a Chris Finch series. I think the Wolves are a better team, but if Chris Finch is his best, if he's at the best of his ability, this Wolves team is going to beat Denver. And now you have the opportunity right here tonight.
All right, so what makes Finch at his best?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the one thing that makes Chris Finch at his best is, well, one, he's pulling for his guys. He's able to challenge calls when he believes what his guys are saying to him. But also, it really is on the offensive side of the ball. I think there's so many things that the Wolves want to do with Anthony Edwards in the game, but there's also a lot of things they want to do without him in the game. There's more ball movement. There's the ability to have all 5 guys touch the ball. ball. A lot of times in the NBA, when you see the ball stick to one side of the floor, it allows the defense to kind of shift over and load up. Now, without Anthony Edwards, the ball is able to move a little bit, get to multiple sides of the floor. Now help side defenders have to move in and out of the paint for the defense at 3 seconds. That allows pick and roll opportunities. That allows slip screens. So there's so many things that can happen on the offensive side of the ball that Chris Finch really, I think if Chris Finch is good tonight, I know it's an 11.5-point underdog, but I think the Wolves are still capable without Anthony Edwards and Dante DiVincenzo tonight.
Chris was quite emotional in his press conference after the Game 4 victory. DiVincenzo down, loves him. Ant down. They got a nice surrogate thing to them. They always have. Anthony
certainly
always is very complimentary of Chris. And Chris, even 9 to noon, is not afraid to push Anthony publicly.
Totally.
When he said, and we talk around it a lot in his weekly appearances, 9 to noon, about the push button nature of his team.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just like a game in the middle of December or middle of January or February. Sometimes you're just like, what happened? I mean, that was antithetical to what it takes to win.
Yeah.
So then people will jump the players and or jump Benchy. Now you get to the postseason. Paraphrasing, he basically was like, I heard it from these guys all year. Now, and I understand where they're coming from. We've had 2 extremely long seasons where we've gotten to the Western Conference Finals. Mm-hmm. So most of the team knows what that feels like. So when I say, and the phrase kind of started with Finch and the Wolves, human nature gets to win. He was kind of saying, well, that's what it's like in the regular season, and sometimes we just can't get a hold of it. Now, after they got beat game 1, and, he said, I chewed their ass. All right, from what I understand, it's the loudest and most mad Chris and the coaching staff have gotten at the guys.
Good for them.
Because they laid it out for him. Where Dad basically could be, look, paraphrasing, I don't know what was said. We looked the other way on A, B, C, D, E, F, and G the entire season because you guys said you had this.
Yep.
You just embarrassed yourselves.
Yep.
Do you got it? You're frauds. Mm-hmm. You're frauds and you're liars.
Love it.
And you're lazy.
Love it.
You said this the whole way, and we settled for it. Well, now it just happened in a playoff game. Mm-hmm. And ever since that game, they've been a different group.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. And you just see that on the defensive side of the ball. It's something where I went to a lot of games this year. I saw the defensive pressure. I saw how much they were in the passing lanes. I saw how much they were really going to contest things at the rim. And it's little things like getting skinny and getting through a ball screen. Jokic is going to do a lot of their offense at the top of the key with the ball in his hands. And he's a big body. It's hard to get through screens like that. But when are you going under? When are you going over? If you go under once, you can't go back under. That's a sin in basketball because they're going to pop the 3. So if you go under once, you got to go over the next screen. Mm-hmm. So it's that little stuff in negotiating. And it's something that if you're a coach, you have to continue to push your guys. You have to test them. You have to allow them to go prove themselves. And I think that's something where we've seen it from Jaden. We've seen it from Io. And even Bones, who's not known as a elite level defender. I think his effort has been great on the defensive side of the ball.
Mm-hmm. Lastly, were you a good free throw shooter? Like, what was your percentage?
Not great. I would say
60s, 70s?
Mid-60s.
Really?
Yeah,
what
not
are you,
great.
6'8"?
Yeah, 6'8".
All right, Rudy's 7, right?
Yeah.
7 feet, 7'1", whatever.
Yeah.
Bro, he's 6 of 19 at the line the last 3 games.
It's been a tough year for him. It has.
Well, he's never been known as a high-end free throw shooter.
You're right.
But with my gaze is being cast the way of games and life without Dante and Anthony. Mm-hmm. So I immediately am like, okay, here comes more zone. Here comes more, especially with the Nuggets at home.
Yeah.
Go ahead and shoot these threes.
Totally.
And if you start making them, we will adjust, but it's on you. And by the way, playing zone defense, as you know, is less fatiguing.
Yeah.
It requires less effort. So therefore, those with their tongues dragging down to the floor, ends of games, see the Nuggets. Well, I think that would help too. So Julius and Io and Bones for sure. Conley and McDaniels after that. They're going to have to hit threes tonight if they want to pull them out of a zone. So I'm looking for that. But secondly, it behooves, if the Nuggets can do it the right way, you got to foul Rudy a lot.
Yeah, I agree.
Honestly, especially if the Wolves go on a 6-0 or an 8-0, foul him, slow the game, put him at the line. He might miss 2 because he's hitting 30% of his free throws the last 3 games.
Yeah.
That just has to change.
Yeah, I agree. The one thing I will say though is who's fouling him, right? Like you have to be smart about
Gotta
that.
do it smartly.
You can't use Jokic's fouls. And the one thing, and I will give
Valanciunas.
that's where I'm going to give Chris Finch a lot of credit, because in game 1 and 2 we saw Rudy out there with Valanciunas.
Yeah, you can't stay with him.
Rudy has to go to the bench when Jokic goes to the bench. It should be almost like a mirror. When Jokic is out, take Rudy out. When Jokic is in, exactly. It has to be one of those things, because if
we
Jonas,
get last change on the road.
well, then you're just putting Jonas out there to foul him.
I
So
love that idea.
that's my thought with it.
All right, have a good day today at First Resource Bank.
You bet.
Minneapolis with a banker Tim, right off Chicago. That's where Parker works.
Hanging
and is
out.
the bomb.
Let's go.
Thank you, Continental Diamond, continentaldiamond.com for the Parker Fox sponsorship. When we return, we have some post-game prattle for you, some post-game cuts from what you may have missed 9 to noon today. And we also have potentially, but most likely, some very good news for the Minnesota Wild. Back after that.
And what up? Final segment, 9 to noon. Man, what a fun Monday show it's been. It takes 2. Wild and Wolves handling business over the weekend. We get the head coach on. We got Micheletti. We got draft picks to feast on. And Parker Fox, terrific work as always when he joins us in studio. I got this quote, and then I got just a little wild nugget maybe we can celebrate on. This is from Pat Micheletti. So Wild are tied up 2-2. We got Game 5 in Dallas tomorrow. Team practicing this morning, and there was a welcome face back at practice. That shortly. But this got me thinking from Micheletti that a certain player just doesn't have it right now in this series. The speed of the series, it's glaring and different from what we saw through the first 82. So Hunter Haight, you say. Hunter Haight into the mix, Patrick Micheletti. Well, who's out then if Hunter Haight should be in for Game 5?
Well, and that's one of the coaching decisions that plays into my previous tweet, right? I just think that, and I don't, and whatever, okay? But I don't think Tarasenko has been playing up to par. And I think the pace of the game has hit him in this playoff. He's not as fleet of foot, and he's having a hard time getting the spots, getting the puck, getting in on the forecheck. And I think, I think Haight would be able to add a little bit more speed, a little bit more skill.
How about that for Micheletti? But it got me thinking. So who knows whether he, and a big part of that conversation he mentioned in that answer is coaching decisions, and coaching will ultimately lead whichever team wins this series to the finish line. But whether it's Tarasenko into the series, PA, I looked at Tarasenko as kind of being, who's your wild card? Who's a guy that you're not necessarily relying on outside of Boldy and Kaprizov, but who's a guy that's got some savvy and can find the puck in the net? And Tarasenko was my guy. He's looked incredibly slow, and without Zuccarello in the mix, they tried him on that line with 97. It didn't work. I've seen him on the power play. I don't like it. I see him getting skated circles around by the Stars. Not a fan of that. And a little bit of an enterprising idea from Patrick Micheletti, but fun segment as it was. I tried to cold call a gentleman during the break. It didn't work out. So I'm just going to look at his X feed, and courtesy of Russo Hockey via X, whether or not Tarasenko is in the lineup. Some terrific news, PA. Mats Zuccarello running the power play at practice this morning.
Hey!
Indeed, and he even posted a picture after announcing that news. So Mats Zuccarello, elbowed by Tyler Myers in Game 1, haven't seen him since. He was back at practice, running the number 1 power play, and then after practice, or at least after that portion of things, he was seen running a power play meeting. 36 is back. Oh, it's going to be so good. So it sounds like Zuccarello, we're hoping that he would be available then for tomorrow night's Game 5 in Dallas, 7 p.m. puck drop. Mr. Yakov Trenyan eventually returned to practice this morning as well. Now, still kind of murky in terms of his availability, but he was out on the ice with the guys. So some good news for the Minnesota Wild in advance of tomorrow night's game and a chance to go up 3-2 on Dallas.
And in Game 4, Kaprizov had some good moments. I mean, he didn't light the lamp, but he had the Faber goal. He made a play, and I can't find my notes right now. I think I left them at my desk, but he had a pass that triggered the Faber goal.
Yeah. And
like watching him and Husey, two of the most important players on the team, it's Quinn with the acrobatic, as basketball fans would know, the Allen Iverson ankle breaking stuff. We just weren't seeing a lot of that in games 2, 3, and 4 until the end when it was time to win it. And I don't know, it might have been Blackwell. I mean, on the game winning goal, eventually he, maybe it wasn't the game winner. He had a play where it was the wizardry with the skating that we've come to expect with Quinn Hughes.
Yeah.
Where he looked like he was going hard right, and then he deked, and then he went back to the left, broke my man's ankles. He went right down to the ice. He lost his edge. So Hughesy caught fire at the end of the game with the deceptiveness. It would require watching the what would be the all 12, the 5 on the ice with the goalies for both teams to figure out if the Dallas Stars are doing anything or what they're doing to keep Kaprizov off the scoring sheet.
Yeah.
With the goals. But
and in fairness, he's still getting those assists. I mean, as Micheletti pointed that out.
That's why I was stammering.
Yeah.
I think he's a +7. I think he's a +7 in this series.
4 or 5 assists as well.
Yeah. So the plus part of it can be overrated at times, but he's doing some subtle things that are happening. But he and Husey, even without Zuccarello, they caught fire at a certain point of game number 4, and now with Zuccarello returning tomorrow night, this is nothing but good news for the Wild. However, if I were a Dallas Stars fan, Mikko Rantanen probably would be my favorite player, simply because he's just so chill. I mean, he's just like what he says after games is so needed when everybody else is all wound up and anxiety riddled. Like after game 1, he kept calling the Stars those guys because he just got there a year ago. And he's like, well, those guys have lost game 1s forever. I mean, there's no trippability here at all. And then they went out and won game 2. At 2-2, he's pretty much the same. Yeah, I mean, we've seen this before. We're cool. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't preferred losing, but no, we're okay. We've been in this spot before, and we've advanced several times. Now, he didn't say, and we'll advance again, but he just made it clear to the fan base, we're good. I mean, that they get to win. They get to make plays, too, and we'll be fine.
With head coach Chris Finch opening the show this morning after the fun montage, there was a conversation, sadly, about injuries, both the Achilles to Dante DiVincenzo, the hyperextended knee to Anthony Edwards, and here is the coach talking about the gut punch that was the injury to Ant.
Yeah, again, it's a bit of a shot in the gut for us just because, Anthony had worked so hard to get back, and, he was, for the first time, I think, not even listed on the injury report going into that game. And he'd done an incredible job to kind of get back and start to, feel a little bit more like himself. He still needed to kind of get in game shape and all, but, you knew it was coming, and we were anticipating some really big games from him coming down the stretch of this series. So, but right now we're just relieved, PA, because like the incident looked pretty nasty. And he's such an incredible athlete, like that. He's able to survive something like that. If that were you and I, our leg would be in pieces down there. So, I think right now we're more relieved. We feel obviously feel sorry for him, but we're gonna have to try to regroup again. And we do know that if we can keep extending this playoff series, that he is going to come back, and he generally comes back ahead of timeline. Like, he just puts the work in. He's super dedicated there.
How about that? Kind of some faith from the coach that it was ugly. It could have been worse. Just keep extending this series, boys. Move on to the next round, boys. And you're going to see Anthony Edwards again. Fun conversation overall with the head coach today.
That's where my podcasting desire would fall. If you're looking to podcast anything from 9 to noon, it was about a 17-minute conversation with Chris Finch. We talked about a monster emerging from the abyss. That's what it looked like when Nikola Jokic was charging at the Wolves bench and Jaden McDaniels. And Chris and I had some fun with that. Talked also about Chris was very heartfelt about the sullen nature of the locker room when everybody knew. They probably knew by then, but then they could really compartmentalize that Dante DiVincenzo messed up his Achilles like Jason Tatum. And that's it. He's out. He ain't going to play a lot of next year either, kind of like Jason Tatum, who came back within the last month and a half or 2 months for the Celtics. So podcast that 9 to noon on demand, KFAN.com. It'll be available shortly after the show.
And then lastly, just really enjoyed our catch-up with Pete Burcich. He was in studio at TCO with us on Friday in reaction to Caleb Banks, the 18th overall selection for the Purple. But then, a couple of picks on Friday, more on Saturday, and the Vikings 2026 draft class has come to full culmination. The interesting parts of Burcich and just providing some analysis. So, we'll get to Caleb Tiernan and the lineman from Northwestern that they took. How does he fit into the equation moving forward? Cool running back on day 3. Sounds like he's got some high-end skill sets, but he dropped to Saturday. What's up with that? You get a corner, we get a hard-hitting safety from Miami. But how the team intends to use Jake Golday, the linebacker out of Cincy, the versatility in the tool belt of Brian Flores, finding a spot and then evolving from there. I just really enjoyed getting Mr. Burcich's mindset and perspective and analysis on that. And that rounds up the postgame, PA, 9 to noon on a Monday.
Talkbacks tomorrow on your thoughts with the Vikings approach to the draft and reaction to all of the action that you'll hear on KFAN tonight with the T-Wolves and the Denver Nuggets. That's tomorrow. Thank you very much for listening. Nordo produces, and I'm Paul Allen. May God bless you and all of your families, and thank you for listening to KFAN. The program is next. Have a good day.
If it's good news or money, leave a message.
Podcast today's Paul Allen Show or listen back to previous show and interviews by going to the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.